because gas is too high. You know what I mean? You know gas is high when you can't put more than the pump number. You put less than the pump number. Can I get 5 on 6, please? Give me 2 on 3. Give me 50 cents on 1, please. Anybody remember when gas was up in $1 back in the day? Y'all remember that? Back in the day, you could go to the gas station, put the nozzle in the tank, put the little click on, and go on the food mart and shop. And then care what the gas landed on. Nowadays, you be right there with the numbers. You be right there. Somebody call you Sean. Make no sense, man. I'm from D.C., man. Some of our friends, they not even buying gas no more. They not even driving no more. They taking the bus and the subway. And I love to ride the bus and the subway because I love to watch people fall asleep on the subway. But you ever notice they never miss their stop? How do you know when their stop is coming? They'll be on the green line the whole ride, knocked out, talking about, boom, boom. Now how you know your stop is coming? Stop playing with me. Make no sense, man.
So, for those of you all who don't know, I'm Lindsay Marsh Warren, and this is my handsome, amazing, intelligent, ambitious, sexy husband, Garrett Warren, and we're excited to be a part of Worth the Wait Revolution and to just kick off an amazing night of some new things that the Lord wants to do. And first of all, we want to celebrate and honor you all for making sexual purity important on this Sunday night. You could be doing anything on this holiday weekend, but you decided that this was important for you to be a part of, so we want to honor you all, celebrate you, and appreciate you. And
Wait. Actually, I can't let her just say that about me without saying, man, look at my wife. Look. So here's a funny story. Yesterday, I was speaking at this mentoring group, Young Guns, at our church, and I asked a question. I said, "You guys know who my wife is?" And then one of the guys, so you guys know, I am so blessed to have such a beautiful, amazing, anointed, and wonderful wife that has produced things that God has given her so much. Just like, it's almost like she wrote exactly what he told her to write. She's doing exactly what he tells her to do, and look at the fruit. So I'm blessed to have a wife like this that's doing this thing, and honestly, I'm so humbled. A lot of guys always say, you married up. I say, you know what, bless God I did, but I thank God for it, so thank you, sweetie.
but this book, The Best Sex of My Life, Confessions of a Sexual Purity Revolution, is the new book, and we're celebrating the release of that book on tonight. And I have some very special guests who have come to be a part of this celebration. There's some contributors. There's some people that have submitted their testimony, their story for this new book. Now, just a little bit of the background. For those of you guys who have attended like a Worth the Wait Revolution runway event, you know that in times past we've done something that the Lord has given us called Confessions of a Revolution. And one day I was driving and the Lord told me, you know, that's a book. And I was like, really, Lord? He said, yeah, you know what you do on the runway, that's actually a book. And he basically told me that there were some testimonies of people that needed to be shared because, as you guys may know, for those who read the first book, The Best Sex of My Life, A Guide to Purity, I just kind of shared in that book why it was important for me to keep my virginity until I was married. But I was very transparent in sharing the good decisions I've made, the bad decisions I've made. So I was very clear about talking about having to be free from things like the humping and the bumping and the grinding, being free from things like masturbation and all kinds of things. So now, as we transitioned, I wanted to now in this book talk about, just the divine connection, how the Lord hooked Gareth and I up. But the Lord said that there were some stories that needed to be heard. People whose lives had now been touched by this sexual purity revolution, and they needed to be able to share. They needed to be able to articulate their stories. So this book is the format by which some people have been sharing their stories. So with that being said, there's some people that I would like to call to the front so that you guys can be recognized. All of the contributors couldn't be here this evening because some of them are in different parts of the country. But some of them are here. So for those that are here, I just definitely want to acknowledge them. So is that all right with you guys? So that we can celebrate those who decided to submit their stories. First and foremost, I would like to call up, and just basically when you guys come up, just stand up and come and stand in the front here with G and I. But first, Mr. Omar Savory. Next, I would like to call up Mr. Robert Adams. This book, has a collection of stories. There's a portion where I deal with some of the ladies, and then I deal with some of the men. For those of you guys who are interested in the book, of course, the book is available tonight, and we're going to be doing a book signing. But Jennifer Black. Jennifer? Bueller? All right. Jalen. Look, I'm not even going to say Jalen's last name.
Let me say this real quick, because actually, you guys are clapping like this is like something small. This is actually major. Think about it like this. A bad decision made one night can cause somebody to lose their life, or can cause somebody to get some sort of something that they can't cure and lose their life. And you guys are clapping like that. And I know y'all eating. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be mean to y'all, but I just want y'all to make sure y'all understand the importance of this, right? So y'all, come on, give it up for them when they come up.
But Jalen didn't come up, though. Oh, she's working the table. She's one of the teenagers, actually, that submitted. So that's a pretty cool thing. Marquise Brantley. Yeah. Yeah, from New Orleans. Actually, want to also bring up Miss Crystal Calhoun. Did Crystal make it? Crystal, where are you? She coming? There she is. Crystal came all the way from Houston, Texas, and her parents are with her. Yeah, so sweet. Crystal shared in the book how I think Crystal saw me on 106 in Park when they did a 106 in Gospel one time. All right. But praise the Lord, she caught it. Amen. Vanessa Fleeton. Miss Vanessa. Woo. All right. And just so you guys know, it was as simple as when the Lord gave me the idea, I just kind of was like, wow, Lord, okay, well, you want to do this book, and it's clear that we want to involve the testimonies of others to be a blessing. I put it out there on Facebook. I said, well, listen, if Worth the Wait Revolution has been a blessing to your life, and if, this sexual purity outreach has meant something to you, if you've been changed, then send me a testimony. And so these are some of the guys who are bold enough to do so. Miss Yaida Ford. Yaida became a part of Worth the Wait Revolution, I think probably in like 2008. I mean, even Rob and Omar, these guys have modeled and done different things. And, since then, like Omar's gotten married and he and his wife. And I mean, it's just a blessing to see just people flourish. It's a blessing to see people walk this thing out and have God's best, truly. Jean-Yves, I'm not going to even try to pronounce your last name. Did Jean-Yves make it? Okay, they may not be here yet. Jean-Yves is actually engaged to one of my sweetie pies, Letitia Lukanda. They are both African. She is from Zaire. It's now the Democratic Republic of Congo, and he is from Côte d'Ivoire. Wait, Burkina Faso. Wait, he's okay. Yes, Côte d'Ivoire. That's where he's from. And she's like all these countries in my mind, but it's beautiful. I mean, just to see how the Lord is, God just doing it, hooking people up. I'm telling you, God has His best for you. You are worth the wait. And as much as you're believing God for that wife somewhere is believing God for you. So just keep living the life that you're living and walking upright before God. And then, bam, in the fullness of time, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. The Lord is going to really blow you away. So, Johnny, Janetta Howard. Yeah. Janetta is also joined Worth the Wait in like 2007 as a model, has since gotten married to a wonderful guy, Marcus Howard. They have this beautiful baby, Jesus-looking child, Luke. I mean, oh my God, he's like, wow, next to Jesus, you've got to be the cutest baby, you know. Devon Johnson, Mr. Devon Johnson, all the way from Miami, Florida, and brought his fiance, right? And when are you guys getting married? We're working on that thing. All right, brother, I didn't mean to put your game on the spot like that. My bad. There you go. All right. She like, yeah, girl, go ahead and ask that thing. No, I'm thinking. No, but so my friend here submitted his testimony. Just please get the book and you can read about these guys because they're just amazing. But excited, and thank you for coming from Miami. Just truly amazing that somebody made it that important to come from Miami, Florida, brought his fiance. But I just believe that this is what God is doing, man. He's lining us up. He's getting us prepared and together so that we can strategically just change this world. Wherever we are, because God is using us where you guys are, where I am. He's got us strategically in the places we need to be. Miss Linnea Johnson. Linnea also joined as a model. I think Linnea is the first testimony on as we start the girls section, but just a sweetie pie. Next, Miss Latoya Keith. Latoya joined as a model when she was single. Then her, I guess, fiance at the time joined. Steve and Latoya are now married. He's off serving in the military now, so he is deployed, but she's here representing herself and her husband. Oh, those shoes are bad, Latoya. That's nice shoes, boo. All right. Because remember, sexual purity with contemporary style and urban class. We don't want you to lose your swag once you start to get saved and love the Lord now. We want you to keep all that. Because most importantly, the world needs to see that, you know. They don't need to see the tired, whack Christian. They need to see us fully engaged. We need to be equally as magnetic, right? All right, so Jean-Yves is here. Jean-Yves, come on up to the front. We came in the door. So this is Jean-Yves. Wonderful young man. He's going to be a great husband to Letitia. But did submit in the book as well. Miss Jamia Lewis. Miss Jamia is a Worth the Wait model that came around probably 2000, and I'm not sure, maybe 8 or 9 or so. She's from like Cincinnati, Ohio. She came and joined the model call, then has been a blessing. When we're ever like in the Midwest-ish area, she comes and serves and is a blessing. And so her testimony is there as well. Miss Sharita Matthews. Woohoo! Miss Sharita Matthews, if you want your hair did and you want it to be fly, this lady right here is the boss. She owns her own salon, and she's engaged to be married as well. That man that was clapping really loud, that would be the fiance. But just her testimony is awesome as well. You know, she'll tell you she's fly, she's doing it, she loves God, and it's just awesome. Miss Allison McMeans, is she here? Hi, Allison, come on in. Look, she's like, I'm in the back. I love it. So Allison has a wonderful story that she shares as well. And this beautiful lady, we go way, way back. We go all the way back to when I was a freshman at George Washington University. And, yeah, the GW people say, whoop, whoop. And I'm just honored that she submitted her story because isn't it amazing, Allison, what the Lord does in our lives, you know? And we both saying, like, if you saw us back then, our freshman year, you wouldn't think we'd be here at the Kayla. Hallelujah. We had our mind on some other things. But God is good. Miss Nicole Miller. All right, Miss Nicole is. Nicole, you came from Ohio, and she submitted in the book. And again, yeah, Ohio's representing. So many different places are representing. Yeah, you guys have traveled to be here, and we're just honored to have you. Is Miss India Pittman here? Look, coming in the door. Hi, India. I love it. When you first come in the door and they call you to the front, you feel famous, like, I'm here. How you doing? So Miss India gave a wonderful testimony about just her transformation. She is a college student at the College of Southern Maryland, finishing up, and she shared her story. Miss Robin Rogers. Woohoo! And Miss Robin just kept it real. She shared her story about how, she's this mom and believing God for her kids, and just, what I love about this book, Confessions of a Sexual Purity Revolution, is that, maybe everybody didn't want to receive from me this, the girl who's supposed to be a virgin and keeping herself and whatever. Because some people say, well, she doesn't understand how I feel, like she can't relate to me. But now when we all present our stories as a united front, it's like the Lord put all the puzzle pieces together. And now how can you deny this Jesus? Like, how can you deny this message? Because now we become so relatable. We become so approachable. Like, all of our stories, we can relate to somebody. So that's what I love about this book. Is Miss Tamika Scales in the building? Hi, Tamika. So for those of you guys who have not received your books yet, I have gifts for you in the back, okay? I know some of you I did reach out to. Miss Bola Surakat here. Nope. Okay. Her story is in here as well. Michelle Thomas. You all know Michelle. Michelle might be working. But for those of you all who don't know, Michelle is pretty much our administrative assistant, the administrative assistant to Worth the Wait Revolution, and she's like the glue that keeps us together. And she's such a blessing to us, and actually Jalen, her daughter, submitted in this book as well. She's one of those moms that is a single mom that is a part of Worth the Wait Revolution that is raising her daughter within this ministry as well. And they both are saying together, we are worth the wait. And so it's a beautiful thing. Michelle, you gonna come to the front though? She's working. Okay. I was gonna have her come to the front because you never know, because her Boaz might be here, and then he'd be like, oh, there she is. She's the one. But if she gonna stay working, then okay, come on down then now, boo. Yeah, that's what I thought you was gonna do, was come on down. All right. Because you never know how the Lord may move. I say that only because two of our friends, Jennifer, formerly Shumpert, and Jeffrey Tyler, got married, and they know each other through Worth the Wait Revolution. How they first became, friends was through serving at a table together. So that's why I said, come on down. And then is Sherelle Thorne here? Not at this time? Okay, so Sherelle's story is in here. And then, of course, Jessica Tolbert, all the way from Miami, Florida. This sweetie pie right here. I was like, Jess, I really want you to come. Oh, I don't think I can make it. And then at the last minute, the Lord opened up the doors, and she came with her husband, Omar. She just has a fantastic testimony, you guys, and just a sweetheart. And I'm just honored that you guys came just all the way. But just a beautiful story. It will totally bless your life. And then is Camden here, Camden Webb? I see you, Camden. I see you, Camden. Why you up here? Come and do a spoken word right quick. Well, a lot of you all know Camden as like our spoken word artist. She's formerly known as like the spoken word girl for Worth the Wait. But no, she does spoken word. She actually has her own thing. She's writing. She's doing poetry. Yeah, she's our sweetie. but her story is in there. And then, of course, last but not least, my friend Mariama White, all the way from Cleveland, Ohio. Mars is one of my, homies from back home who I've known since probably I was 13 or so. And, one of the people that you see and you look up to, because Mars and I probably did almost everything together. We played basketball, we played volleyball, we did this, we did track, Mars was in the orchestra, I was in the band. We just did everything. And then later on in life, she was at my sister's wedding. She was one of my sister's bridesmaids. And then, they went to college together. And then later on in life, we went to church together. And in high school, obviously, we weren't the safe type. And then, the Lord got a hold of us in those later years. And it's just awesome to see, oh, man, what God has done. And so this girl here is just my girl. So anyway, all these people I just want to honor. And then, no, we're not missing anybody. Hold on. Oh, you mean anybody? Yeah. Are we did I miss anybody, though? Out there? Oh! I feel bad.
Don't feel bad.
Come on.
Honest mistake.
Yes, this is. I feel like. Now, how did I miss that though? Look, I'm about to say Michelle. No, it's not Michelle. It's totally me. Okay, this is a hug. Okay, so this is Miss Bonita. Huh. Boy, what's your last name, Bonita? Melanie Bonita. She was totally omitted. It's my bad. So if you guys can forgive me, and if you can forgive me, okay. I got a gift for you. Okay. So while these guys are here, there's another person that I would like to honor and to thank. And the person that I want to honor and thank is this guy right here. Because Gareth basically is the type of guy that, he is not going to let me put out a finished product and it not be excellent the way it needs to be excellent. He's not going to let me put something out there and it's halfway done and it's not to the level of quality that he knows will glorify God. And as much as I'm babe, the book is done. This dude is editing, revising, and how many of you all know that really iron sharpens iron? You really need someone to be that iron in your life. You really need somebody to be able to be that for you. We always want the yes man, but seriously, you need somebody to be able to, help you and give you wisdom and correction and instruction and all these things. So I want you all to know that I honor my husband because all that I do, seriously, is the better because of who he is in my life. And so, at this time, I wanted to do something special. So go out there, babe, go out there. So, what I wanted to do is, our wedding song was this song right here. I'm not gonna cry. And so, just something to honor my husband because I want you all to know that, a lot of times you guys see me out in the front because whatever. That's just the nature of sort of how the brand is built a little bit and the assignment that the Lord has given me. But I'm very much a woman that is submitted to a great man of God. And I just want every woman to know that, submission is not a bad thing. It's a God thing because God knows how to cover us with a man that will know how to honor you, love you, respect you, but also is not intimidated of your gift or your talent or your anointing. And when you find a man of God like that, he will allow you to shine. And it's cool because he understands that you are a crown on his head. So when you shine, he shines brighter, right? So I just want to honor my husband if y'all would give me a minute right quick. Y'all all right with that? Okay.
We gotta get the two going. Okay, there you go. Which way we going? We gotta go this way. Yeah, there you go. Really background, really background. Get the word. We can't hear you. Okay.
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you very much. As much as I wanted to continue that, I know I'm like, they sitting down, they already finished eating. They need to do something like laugh or something like that. So, we're going to continue this later on, all right? On the dance floor and really later on. But so once again, I mean, you guys don't understand. I mean, the Word of God talks about the importance of the testimony and how people overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony. And these testimonies are going to cause that many more people to overcome. I mean, that's priceless. Again, it's just like that difference between life and death. I mean, y'all give it up for them one more time. And here's the thing, too. What I want y'all to do is, if you buy a book, I'm not going to pressure you to buy a book and say buy a book and do this. If you buy a book tonight, make sure you find them and let them sign your book. Because here's the other thing. You never know what type of ministry is going to be birthed out of each of these and any of these individuals up here, because it's happened before. Jennifer, that she was talking about earlier, Jeff, I mean, they're going around doing some amazing things around sexual purity. Yvonne Orgy. There's a ton of people that are birthed out of a ministry like this because they tell their story, not ashamed of it, and they want to impact people's lives. I read something the other day in this book. It's called The $100 Startup, and the book said, when you help other people, you'll always get paid. And I'm not talking about monetarily. You're going to get paid in the end, man. So give it up for them one more time. Did you want to do something else, baby? You guys can have your seats. I don't want to. Thank you, guys.
I want to thank Dr. Warren for inviting me here to come and talk about what I believe in. We both believe in the same thing, but we just approach them differently. But we come to a common goal, and I think you can see that tonight. Like she said, I'm glad you've eaten. Some of my pictures will be a little bit graphic, but it's not to demean anybody, but to make my presentation understandable. I'm OBGYN. I've been in practice in Southern Maryland. I don't know why I didn't meet the last speaker. I've been in Southern Maryland since 1982. And my interest in purity came about in 1979 when I was medical student at Bowman Gray School of Medicine in Winston-Salem. This very night, I got called around 1 o'clock to come and help with the cesarean section for 11-and-a-half-year-old girl that was pregnant and in labor. She had a big baby, and we had to do cesarean section. So that's the time then we used to use retractors for those of us that are in the healthcare industry here. After I finished the delivery, it just kept bothering me that what happened to this 11-and-a-half-year-old girl? Who did this to this girl? And I just couldn't go back to sleep in my locker room. But all of a sudden, it seems like I got a phone call from God that says, well, if that experience bothers you, why don't you just go out and start talking to teenagers about sexual purity? And I said, oh, okay, God, if that's what you want, I'll be obedient, I'll do it. And that's how it started. So I started collecting slides. I started trying to find a way to talk to these teenagers. But because my presentation is biblically based, and as you guys know, I can't go to public school, I'm so excited to be in this room today, far away from Southern Maryland, and I can speak about God. It's so great. You guys just don't know. It's so great. So after about 10 years of collecting slides, my beautiful wife and my nurse came out with this title, and that's when we called it Abstinence Teen Choice. And my office is right there in Waldorf. I do my delivery at Southern Maryland Hospital, which is now part of MedStar. And I don't have a lot of time tonight. I might rush some of the slides, so forgive me. But I'm hoping that you will understand that God created sex. And he says it's for procreation, is for enjoyment, but the only time sex is good is in the context of marriage.
Right, so we're Harrison and
Eileen.
so thanks so much for having us, Dr. Lindsay and Gareth. So we're just excited to be here. We're our associate pastors over at Capital City Church of Capitol Hill. And I think Dr. Lindsay has us here just because we kind of keep it real, and we show that just because you're in ministry doesn't mean that your life is like perfect and you know everything. But we're just working it all out with everybody else, and seeking the Word of God to figure out how to do it. So hope we can bring something.
Absolutely. These guys are precious friends of Gareth and I, and so some of you guys know Harrison and Eileen already from other panels or other events that we've done, but you'll see them around a lot because they're just awesome. So we have them, of course. And Dr. Jerry.
Hi, everybody. Hey. I'm Dr. Jerry. I actually am an adolescent medicine physician. So that means that I see young adults and teenagers. I start at 12 and I go to 25. And my specialty is sexually transmitted infections. That is not all I do, but that's the scope of my expertise because most people don't want to deal with that. And I work with Black Entertainment TV, BET, doing a number of things. We tour throughout the U.S., talking to young people about HIV, about AIDS, about sex, and I'm known for keeping it real, but sometimes I can be a little too real. So the more shocked you are, I will get even crazier. So I'm just letting you know, just be prepared. And I got a green light. So it's going to be fun. It'll be fun.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tanika Strickland. And I'm here, I guess, just to represent the singles. I'm 34 and I'm a virgin. Woo woo. And so I'm here, I guess, to really represent the people that have been waiting a long time. And just to really encourage you, and I keep it real too. I don't always feel like, oh, worth the wait. So ask me all about that. But yeah, that's it.
Awesome. And also, I want you all to know that Tanika also is in the book. How did I forget to say that Tanika was in the book? I have no idea. But Tanika's one of my sweeties. And Dr. Jerry as well. Dr. Jerry had me on her show maybe last year or year before. And so I'm just thankful to connect with Dr. Jerry as well. So y'all see how the panel's going to be real good, right? Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know why I'm here, actually. No, I'm just kidding. Trenton Marsh. I am representing single men who are currently engaged. I don't know, that's probably a small population. I'm also representing those gentlemen who might have lost their virginity. Anybody out there? Be honest, transparent? I'm the only one. Okay. So I lost my thank you, Lonnie. Thank you, sir. So I lost my virginity, and I rebounded in 2002. So that was the last time I had sex was in 2002. All right, yeah, all right. All right. So I'm also representing that group, that population. Thank you.
And this clown is also my brother. This is family right here, so that's why he's going to open up with, I don't know why I'm here. You know, anyways. And G is going to be the marvelous technical side. Oh, keep going? It's going to come back, though? He's awesome. So watch, it's going to magically appear. It's going to be great. Okay, so we're going to start off with a few of the questions that you guys have submitted. And again, no pressure, but my panelists are going to jump. First question being, do you have any advice for men who want to promote sexual purity to their guy friends? Strategies, plans, etc., to go about that situation? Panelists? Any advice for men who want to promote sexual purity to their guy friends?
So since I've been promoting it since 2002, here's a good example. I was driving in the car. Anyone ever heard of Caribana? So I went to Caribana. Who'd have thought I went to Caribana? The summer I decided to stop. I'm in Caribana with 4 guys in the car. We're driving, and some of my homeboys like, man, look at all them girls. Oh my God, Caribana. I'm like, guys. And this is before Lindsay's ministry being worth the wait. I simply said, guys, it's really not that serious. And I said, in fact, every city you go to, I guarantee you're going to see a pretty girl. And so that's what I said back in there in 2002. And now you fast forward in 2013. My testimony is that I waited and I continued to wait. And part of my strategy was simply that every time we would see young ladies, and some of these guys I actually had to get away from because they were, as Pastor Mike would say, what would he say? Some of your friends have your problem.
Hang with people who have your answer. Get away from people who have your problem.
And I had to get away from those dudes that had my problem because they continue to stay in the vein of trying to check the girl out. You ever seen the dudes that look at a girl and they just follow her? I had to get away from some of those cats. And personally, it's nothing wrong with looking at a young lady, but there's something wrong when that lust gets in your heart. So part of my strategy has been spiritual. Anytime a thought comes, I literally say out of my mouth, I'm a man of God. Literally say out of my mouth. So from one Lonnie to another Lonnie who's lost their virginity, I literally would say, I'm a man of God. Thank you. And by the way, you don't have to clap for all my stuff. You don't have to clap. I'm just saying.
But I think too, Trent, they're asking for strategies, and I get that because you have one-on-one episodes when God creates an open door for you to be able to witness or share your story. And so I get you were on a trip and you had some opportunity to sort of witness and do a one-on-one. I think this person is asking too how to promote purity to their guy friends. And I personally think that even inviting dudes to come out to something like this, it's a little different. You might think it's going to be more girly, but I see a lot of nice dudes in the building. I see some nice guys, right? So I think it's about our perspective too. Like if we just make this about just females, which we try not to, but obviously too, Gareth helps and brings a balance because he shows if you guys read, I think it's chapter 3 in the new book. He takes chapter 3 and tells his whole story. And anybody that knows Gareth before, Jesus got a hold of him, he thought he was a pimp. So, when you take somebody like that and then you see what the Lord has done, it's like, yeah, man, you can totally show and promote this and help a man understand that this is not just about women, but it's about men. Dr. Jerry, I know you have something.
The other thing is that as women, when we say, oh, I'm a virgin, people gather around us and they applaud us. But when men disclose the information that they may be a virgin. It's like, oh, he gay. He gay, child. And so the thing that we have to do as a body of believers, if we're all on the same page, we have to really encourage them in their manhood, because you having sex with somebody does not make you a man. And so as men, I think the onus is upon the men to really come around those brothers and be like, man, that's good that you waited. I should have waited. Sometimes we have to tell our story to really encourage each other on a one-on-one basis. But the main thing is really encouraging the men, because I mean, they keep telling the women don't have sex. We got to have sex with somebody. So if we're waiting, it would be honorable for a man to wait too. And as women, we have to stop looking at men like, oh, he's saving him. You a punk. You weak. You tired. Because I don't know why y'all looking at me with the blank face like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'll just talk to the panelists. But I'm telling you, that's what we have a tendency to do as women. We like to challenge men's manhood by saying, oh, well, since you're waiting, you must be, a punk or a fag or some of those other derogatory names that we use. So we have to embrace them and encourage them. I think it comes from us, encouraging each other.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to go to the next question. Can HPV be detected in men? If so, what's the rate in men, and do you think the marketing on HPV vaccination is adequately targeted toward men too?
Okay, that's... Hello? Yeah, that's for me.
Yes, sir.
A few years ago, the HPV vaccine came out. Mark came out with it, and if you go back online at www.mark.com, and you'll find it there. They came out with it with the intention of giving it only to women from age 9 to 26. They came out with 4 vaccines put together, 6, 11, 16, and 18. The 6 and 11 are not so malignant ones. The 16 and 18 are the ones you find in malignant, in cancer cells. Okay, so they came out with those 4. In Great Britain, they only have 2. And the first question I asked them was this: what about the guys? I said, if you don't have anything for the guys, get out of my office. They didn't like my response, but at the end of the day, a lot of physicians asked the same question. So they went back, and they had to tell FDA to market it, that they will market it for men also, between ages 9 and 26. A lot of guys will come around to their girlfriends and say, hey, look at me, I don't have anything. Sure, let him shave down, put vinegar and water in it, and put a magnifying lens in it. It will light up on you. That's one. Number 2, if you don't see it, tell them to go to see a urologist. They have to do a cystoscopy on them, and majority of the time, it's sitting right in the urethra, and you're not going to see it with the naked eye. So you have to send them to a urologist who's interested in it. That's the real deal. So that's how you're going to find out HPV in men. They have them. They're the one transmitting it to the women. And you have to send them out and say, I don't want you, I don't need you.
Amen. All right, I have another question because I got to keep it moving, guys. This is interesting. I recently reconnected with my first love, and he is in the process of getting a divorce. I'm a little confused. Here we go. He lives separately from her, and the divorce will be finalized in October. Is it wrong? Oh, I ain't even finished reading the question, and the jury has decided. Is it wrong for us to date even if we both, dang y'all, even if we both have agreed that we will remain abstinent until marriage. There is a side note. I feel that this time is for us to get acquainted with one another, but should we stay away until the divorce is finalized? By the way, his wife left him to be with someone else. Panel.
I think they answered their own question.
You think the people have decided?
No, I think they answered their own question.
They
I mean, first, guys, I understand the chuckling and things like that, but like really, this is serious stuff because people really get kind of caught up in things like this. So, but I think they answered their own question. They need to stay away. I mean, really, at this point, and I mean, they need to really let this person deal with this whole divorce situation before they get involved in anything. Not that I've been involved in it before, but I just know from seeing other folks and, you know, hearing testimonies about folks being involved like that and, you know, and it not being fruitful for them.
Right. You guys have anything to add? I hear you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Divorce is a messy thing, and it's something God never intended, you know, and these, you know, relationships, many here have probably been through a divorce. And so it's not something to take very lightly, and it's not something that we can just kind of like be like, oh, you know, that should never happen, you know, but these things have happened, and it's never something that God intended, which means that there is a healing process with God that needs to take place. And the most important thing for someone who is going through a divorce to be focusing on is their relationship with God. And they need to come to a place of healing. There's a lot of baggage that you're going to start your relationship off with if you do it that way. And plus, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not in your best interest. It's not in their best interest. You know, let them figure it out with God, sort it out. Let's let the divorce be finalized. Let there be a season, you know, of time of healing. And then, you know what? God does restore people. And I do believe that God restores people into relationships, restores them back to a place where they can begin dating, get married again. But, you know, the healing process starts with a relationship with God, not with a relationship with you.
Ooh, Harrison, on that last one. See, that's my friend. All right, so that was good, right? Amen. All right. Oh, see, now questions on the screen. All right. Okay, they meant to ask, how? How do you define virginity? Right? That's what they meant to ask. How? But that's what they wrote. So we just wrote what they wrote. How? How? Or what do you define? What do you define as?
I think the answer's already been, I think Dr. Alawodi addressed that earlier in his presentation, actually.
He addressed abstinence. He didn't address virginity.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, a definition for virginity.
Well, you're probably a good example of it because you never kissed any guy until you got married.
No, I kissed somebody before I got married, Dr. Alawodi. Hold on, wait a time out before we use me as an example. Hold on, because Jesus is about to crack this guy and say, "Now, boo, now you know, get away. Why you telling me?" Okay, so
All right, let me define it.
I don't want no lightning.
The truth about the whole thing is this: whether you can stick with it is a different story. Virginity, by definition, should be that you don't have any form of relationship with the opposite sex until that day when you say "I do." That's what it should be. Now it's left to each individual. Can you hold on to that? Sorry? That's true virginity. That's about it. Let's just leave it as though that's a definition. Anything that goes against that, it's not right. I'm not here to judge anybody, but that's what the definition should be.
And then Dr. Jerry is going to...
Since I work with young people, I have to be very explicit. Not explicit, that's the wrong word. but specific, that's a better word. That's a better word. So when you are engaging in a relationship with somebody, it's always important because we throw terms out. Oh, I'm a virgin. Like I'll do oral sex, like mouth on vagina, mouth on penis, mouth on rectum, vagina on penis, vagina on somebody's mouth. You know, you have to be very specific about what you do, what you do and what you don't do. Digital stimulation, like finger jobs. Everybody's in here grown. I don't feel like playing today, okay? Digital stimulation, so like if you have your finger in somebody's vagina, that's a bond that you all share, okay? Also, when, I might not go too far, but different groups engage in different forms of sexual activity, and it doesn't have to be with the opposite sex, because what has happened with some of my patients is, in the body of Christ, we warn girls so much, especially when they go to college. Watch out for this dude. Watch out for the guys. Watch out for the guys. A lot of my girls are going to college, and they're getting turned out by their roommates. They're getting turned out by the girl down the hallway. And so we have to, as a body of believers, we have to really be on guard. We have to get sharper in terms of how we interact and how we minister to people. So the cartoon, ABC stuff, that's good for the preschoolers, because like you said earlier in your presentation, young people are starting to have sex at an earlier age, so we have to be very specific. So when I am talking about sex, I don't even say, are you a virgin, when I'm talking to my patients. Have you ever had your mouth on somebody's vagina, your mouth on somebody's penis, your mouth on somebody's rectum, allowed somebody to put their mouth on you? All of this, oral sex, anal sex, vaginal sex, penile penetration, digital manipulation, humping. Because there's a form of emotional bonding that just comes with, everybody got their clothes on, but you straight humping all the time. There's a bond that happens that's there. And we'll talk about bonding and how the whole biochemistry of sex. The whole purpose of sex is to join two people together. Because what happens is you release amphetamines. It feels good. When you're first interacting with somebody, you release amphetamines. It's like, wow. When they call you, it's exciting. You're like, oh, they text me. So after the texting and then you start kissing, you release testosterone. Testosterone is the sex drive. That's what makes you like, we about to get it in tonight. I don't care where we go. We gonna get right down to it. So that's what testosterone. And then like he introduced later, after you all engage in sex, there's oxytocin that's released. That's the thing that bonds you to whoever you're released with. Now, everybody doesn't have orgasm, and that's a whole nother street that we can go down that I'm not gonna go down. But once you're sexually engaged with somebody, you bond with them. And that's why after you break up, you're like, dang, I wonder what he doing. I wonder what she doing. Maybe I should just text him. Maybe I'll just call. No, girl, let's go shopping. Let's do. So we do all these things to try to get our minds off of somebody. But that's a soul tie. You guys have heard of soul ties. Your soul has been bonded with somebody else's soul, and it's not easy. There's no definition of how do you pull that apart. So that's why when we're ministering to people, when we're doing deliverance, when we're doing healing, you have to go back in your sexual past and figure out everybody that you had sex with and release them emotionally from you. And that's why it's not that we just saying, oh, just wait till you get married, wait. And you all roll your eyes when people say, not anybody in this room, I'm just saying people out in the atmosphere. They roll their eyes when we say wait, but there is a reason that we say wait, because it is not very easy to get over. We got songs, My First Love. Oh, like the young lady was saying, my first love, the first person that I was with, they're coming back around. But what happens is we don't remember why the breakup. There had to be a reason that you broke up in the first place. Ask God to pull all that stuff back to your remembrance, because that's what I had to do. I had to start writing down stuff. Oh yeah, you cut me off and you're rude and you're disrespectful and nothing that you do lines up with, where my vision is going. So sometimes we have to, we got journals for everything else. Write down, I broke up with this joker because Because what happens is, and guys have to do it too, because women, we try to act like we are the diamond. Every woman coming through ain't a diamond. I don't care if she has red bottoms. I don't care if she wearing St. John's. We have to be in a strong place of discernment when it comes to everything. And so I want to encourage you all to just begin to write down why that person doesn't line up with the vision of God for your life. If they don't line up, it's wasting time. And we don't have a lot of time to waste. So I'm done.
Let me just add one thing very quickly that I didn't get to share with the slides. If you behave exactly as everybody else, here's what happens. If you have sexual activity with one person, that means you've been exposed to one person. If you have sexual activity with 5, you've been exposed to 31 people. If you engage with sex with 12 people, you've been exposed to 4,000 people. That is, if all of them are behaving the same way. So you are having sex with people they've had sex with. Keep that in mind.
Y'all all right? Everybody okay? Come on. Yeah, that fan yourself. Let's have a smiling exercise. All right, need everybody to be all right. Here we go. How did you deal with the rejection that came from telling people you are waiting? How did you deal with the rejection?
I guess that would be me. What I always like to say, because I don't want to give any just regular expected spiritual answers. I'm just going to tell you exactly how it is for me, and then you can take this and use it for yourself. It's not easy. It's not fun, but it really, to me, it's how you present it. If you are meeting someone for the first time and you've been told to give them your spiel about who you are and what you're waiting for and all this kind of stuff, you could in some ways put yourself in a position to be rejected before you're rejected. And a lot of times you're expecting rejection and you may not even get it. If you're just comfortable in who you are, that's just like them finding out your favorite color. You don't have to tell them right off the bat that that's what you're doing. You could repel another Christian who might think you're just a little bit too spiritual for them. They want a relationship, and so do you. And so at the end of the day, you're a natural person that wants a natural relationship, but you answer to a higher calling. And so when you're able to present your best self, and then it comes up in conversation, because it should eventually if y'all talking about it, and you're talking about being in a relationship, then you'll be able to present it in a way that's not confrontational, but it's just really who you are. And either they accept that or they don't. It's just like somebody who accepts your personal preferences in any other regard. If they are interested in what you're about, then they're interested in proceeding. But if they're not, then they're not. But it's not necessarily specifically about the fact that you're waiting, unless you present it that way, and really it's just making you seem like you're kind of putting up a whole bunch of walls and barriers, and you may never find out if you're compatible.
Let me just add one thing, because I've dealt with this for the last 26 years. Now, if you ladies, if you tell a band that, hey, don't touch me. Now, if he stomps his feet and starts spitting on you and starts talking trash to you, walk away. I tell you what, when he goes and talks to his friends, he will praise you. He will praise you because he knows that this is a woman I like to be with. You don't give it up that easily. I've talked to them. I've talked to teenagers, and I've gotten into their heads. So don't feel bad. Don't feel bad about telling them, hey, I'm not interested in this. That's what you are, and that's what this young lady is saying. But let them stomp off. Let them go. If they're worth anything to you, they'll come back.
Amen. Tanika, I appreciate your transparency. Interestingly enough, a quick sidebar. I don't even watch Grey's Anatomy, but like the last 5 minutes of Grey's Anatomy, there was an episode of a guy telling a girl that he was waiting to have sex, but he was waiting for marriage. It was totally like a little bit weird because it obviously looked like they were going for it. And then he was like, no. And he's like, why? He's like, well, I'm waiting. And then she's like, looked like, well, I am too. And it was like this surprisingly weird, like, are you? And it's like, yeah. And but it was interesting because obviously it never came up in a conversation like naturally it should have. But obviously two people getting to know each other, the first thing that you tell somebody is not like, you got this on your forehead like I'm waiting. Like, that can turn anybody off. Just like if the first thing you say to somebody is like, I'm a Christian, so I can't talk to you if you don't know Marvin Sapp and Jesus Christ. You see what I'm saying? Like, wise as a serpent, gentle as a dove. All right? Next one. Why should I have the aspiration to get married one day? You don't have to. I mean, it's no pressure. And then 2, you don't. How do you tell a boy you are dating to behave like a gentleman? Okay. How do you tell a boy you're dating, right, to behave like a gentleman? And how do you start that dialogue with him? Well, the first one was a no-brainer, right? Because you don't have to get married. Like, really, you could just be chilling. Come on over here, Mars. Come. This is my friend right here.
Whoever asked the question, I think I may be able to relate to you a little bit, because I actually, growing up, I did not aspire to be married. It just wasn't, and that's actually something that I wrote in my confession. It just wasn't something I aspired to do until I got older and I started seeing me differently and wanting more for my life. But it wasn't, so to say, why should I have the aspiration to get married one day? I think in our culture today, a lot of people don't want to be married because they don't see this every day. So I think maybe that could be some of that question, where that's coming from. But I do relate to that, and just since I've had a son, I think, of course, about it a lot more. But it's something that I'm growing in and really learning what true marriage is about. And so it is an aspiration for me to have a solid, good, not just to be married, because a lot of people just want to be married. You know what I mean? Because I just want to have a husband, I want to have a wife, I want to have kids. But when you really understand the purpose of marriage, and for me, that was something that over time I had to really develop. And so I definitely aspire to be married, but in a good, holy, solid marriage. I hope that helps.
No, that is helpful, Mars. I agree, because even some of us didn't want to be saved because of some of the Christians we saw. So it's like, why do I want to be a Christian? I mean, like, look at all the Christians. But similarly, why do I want to be married? Look at all these marriages. Some of the stuff we've seen in our family and all that. But then I think when you get around good, believing, strong couples, you say, man, hey, and you begin to desire it. And I think God will position us around different believing couples or strong Christians or whoever. You get in this room and you're like, hey, like, I wasn't waiting, but waiting looks like it could be hot, so let me put that on. And so I understand.
Lindsay,
So
I didn't mean to interrupt. Can I just add one thing to it?
Absolutely.
I didn't want to get married, and I'm married now. So I don't know how. I honestly don't know how that happened, but I know. I just said I do, and yeah, right. But I honestly, a lot of people in our area, in the DC metro area, are there any strong women here in this room? Any people who are, you're gifted, you're talented, you're beautiful, you have careers, you're educated, there's just so much. Sometimes you just think, I'm good. I just feel good, I'm set. And when the Lord started leading me and Harrison into a dating relationship, I was shocked. I was like, I just don't know about this. I didn't even like him, and I don't know. And the Lord really had to deal with some things in my heart to break down a little bit of that strength that I thought was boldness and I thought was courage, I thought was good, strong independence, but I didn't realize that I had to actually soften myself and make a bit of room in my life to have the presence of a man come into my world. And as I did that, I was shocked at how much Harrison started. started adding to my life. I didn't think it could get any better. I didn't think that who I was could get complimented, but I had just had no idea. So how I would answer this is I had no idea that a relationship and that a marriage made in God could take your life to just a whole nother level. I still am in awe at the power of the love and the hope and the joy and the future and the that Harrison and I share. I'm in awe. So to whoever that may be in this room, I just want to say you don't know how good marriage can be in God. So I just wanted to encourage you.
Yeah. That was good, Eileen. So number 2, how do you tell a boy you are dating to behave like a gentleman, and how do you start that dialogue with him? What'd you say, Trey? Huh?
Here's the thing, okay? I'm one that I believe that I'm up here, right? Like, so I set a value for myself, right? And as I would expect young ladies to, especially being, God's chosen young ladies. I mean, he calls you a virtuous woman in his word. If you set yourself up here and you say, this is where I am, and somebody's treating you like you're down here, I don't even think it's a dialogue. I think it's like, I can't even, you haven't even met the prerequisites to even talk to me. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So you should go text him right now, like, sorry. About that, that's not going to happen.
And you know what? He may be a good dude underneath. Don't get me wrong. But you know what? He'll be a good dude underneath when he comes back to you and he's acting right and he's in a better. When he sees what happens, I'm telling you, he'll change completely. He'll be like sitting at home, like, what did I do?
But I think you might need to have a conscious conversation with this young man. Boys are mature at a slower rate than females. So I think it's important because if he doesn't understand his actions, that's not going to help him any as his growth and his ability to proceed to have a future conversation with you. So I would say, I hear what Gareth is saying. You have a high standard, but maybe you have an intellectual or some sort of conversation with him to say, just FYI, this approach was incorrect. Who knows what happens in 6 months? But right now, incorrect.
And you know what? That's good. You know what? Here's the thing, though, too. Another way to address it is, if you know somebody like a male that does act like a gentleman, that knows you both, a common friend, you ask that older gentleman to have a conversation with him, because some part of the reason that some of the guys don't act like gentlemen is because they don't have a father to ever show them. They don't have a model to show them. So, I mean, that's an even better way to address that, I think. So, thanks, Trent.
Next one, babe. So I have never experienced a Christian dating relationship. Okay, is it appropriate to ever approach a man to let him know you are attracted to him?
Jeez.
How should the relationship be initiated or started? It's so funny. There's a part in my book where I talk about, do you remember that movie? What is it? He's really not that into you? Sometimes, ladies, that's where we are.
Yes.
He's really not that into us, but we are so into him. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the first question, is it ever appropriate to approach a man and let him know you're attracted to him? I believe that it is, once you understand who you are as a woman and what your desire is, if he is a man that you are attracted to, it's okay to let him know that you are attracted to him. However, it is not okay to Jedi mind trick him. You know what I mean? I'm going to let you know what Jedi mind tricking is. Jedi mind tricking is when you're like, we're gonna be friends. That's my friend. Oh, he my brother. That's my brother in Christ. Oh, that's my play brother. That's my friend. We friends. We friends. Girl. Yeah. So tell me about, how did she treat you? Wow, she did? Okay, so what I'm doing now as a manipulator, as a manipulating woman, is I'm acting like I'm his friend, and I'm asking him how his date was with this woman, when my goal and my motive is to make this man my man. That's a Jedi mind trick. Because what I'm doing is I'm getting the inside scoop on how he feels about her, what he doesn't like about her, what he does like about her. So I, in turn, can then become that woman that he becomes attracted to. I know what you don't like. I know what you do like. So we gonna be real tonight, right? I know what you like. I know what you don't like, because we are just friends. And then the next thing you know, now I'm trying to act like, oh, well, now I'm interested in you. Or I morph myself out of my authentic self into what I believe that he likes, so I can get him to be attracted to me and away from her. That's a Jedi mind trick. And that's what we as women have been teaching our younger women. Girl, just get to know him some. Just be his friend. When you're really authentically friends, you're just on the friend level, and it just shifts into a relationship. Not, my goal is for us to be in a relationship, so I'm going to move the gear shift down to friendship and manipulate him. That's not cool, ladies or gentlemen or whoever is doing that. So if you're attracted to somebody, it is okay to say, I'm attracted to you. However, when you're bold enough and vulnerable enough to say, I'm attracted to you, you have to allow that person to express honestly how they feel about you. If you're attracted to them, that does not necessarily mean that they're going to be attracted to you. So if they kind of push you off or they become distant, take that for what it's worth, back up, don't press the man, don't you trying to marry him and you done picked out a dress and you know where you gonna have your reception and who gonna sing and who gonna read the Old Testament, New Testament verses and who gonna dance. The reason I went in like that is because women, we have a tendency to take it to a whole nother place.
I know the color of my dress.
Yes. I know my girls who gonna be in my wedding. I think I know where we going on the honeymoon. And you like, he's like, I just want to be your friend. So it's okay to be attracted to a certain extent. And if you feel comfortable enough to express that, you can say that, but that's not a guarantee that somebody's gonna be attracted back to you. And don't flip if they're not attracted. Don't demonize the person and say, no, I'm serious, because we'll do that. We'll make them seem like, oh, he think he better than me. If they're not attracted, just move forward. Move forward, it's okay.
Excellent. All right, babe, I'm ready. Explain dopamine release and its effects on sex and attachments.
The hormones, oxytocin, is really in your posterior pituitary, and it's been shown over and over again that if you hug somebody for 20 seconds, you will stimulate the release. So the question is, and it's a bonding hormone. And that's what I was trying to say. When you see, if you look at some of the midwives that deliver babies, they tend to put the baby directly on mom's skin. Skin to skin contact will release that. And that's why moms are bonded to their children a lot. Okay? The same thing you're doing with the opposite sex or whoever you're hugging, you will stimulate that hormone behind your brain. And then the question is, how do you detach? Dr. Betty already said that. You attracted to several of them. You have to detach from them. And that's when you get into depressed mode, because you have trouble detaching from them. Okay? And that's why we are writing a lot of prescription for depression in this country for teenagers, as I said, than high blood pressure and heart disease medicine combined.
Harrison, yeah.
I think it's important to talk about why why were we designed this way? You know, and just to understand, I mean, all this comes full circle back to God's intention for sex,
Right.
God's intention for a relationship between man and woman. And you know, it's some of the reasons why you don't want to engage in activities, even if you don't consider it sex, is because it's just not right. It releases these things inside of a man, inside of a woman, and it goes someplace that you can't finish. And God intended it to finish. God intended it to go somewhere. God wants it to go somewhere for you and your spouse. Once you get to a certain age, you know, it's intended to go somewhere. And so a lot of times we say, like, what is love for another person is not to stir up all this stuff inside of them and then try to put the brakes on right at whatever artificial boundary that we draw. But we also talked a little bit about how these hormones create attachments. Another way to talk about it is sexual imprinting, where the first and frequent sexual experiences that you have result in sexual cravings for you. And so when you've engaged with someone sexually outside of marriage, then later you get married, this sexual experience that you desire is the sexual experience that you had with somebody a long time ago, maybe the first one or maybe the most frequent one, and you're wondering why your spouse is not satisfying you or why it's not working out in marriage like it should. Well, it's because God designed it that way. It's supposed to be that your first and frequent experiences are the things that you crave, and that your first and frequent experiences are in marriage. So God actually put in a system that makes you like amazingly attracted to your spouse, you know, with these hormones and the way things are set up. So it all comes full circle. God designed it that way. You know, we break it, and then we wonder why it's not working, you know.
We are fearfully and wonderfully made, right? Wow. So I'm going to have to sort of get us moving and sort of wrapping up, just so you all know, because I know some of you all want to dance. Yes. And then some of you all want to model. All right. What can be said about someone who is, by definition, either a virgin or celibate, but not by choice? They were just unable to get the opportunity to have sex, but they weren't pursuing purity until recently. What do we say about that? We say, okay, well, welcome. I don't know. What do we? Yeah, glad to have you. All right. Sorry, I'm not trying to be little, but I'm glad you're here tonight. All right. Does my book concern the dangers of rape and the importance of safe, consensual sex? Does my book concern, I guess like address, the dangers of rape and the importance of safe, consensual sex? Let me try to think back of some of my testimonies that have been shared. There may be some people in the book that have shared a situation that may be similar to rape, yes. So that you may find that in the book. There's some things that have been shared about like rape, people being free from rape, free from abortion, free from divorce, free from homosexuality, free from masturbation, pornography. So pretty much the spectrum is covered in terms of what people have been free from, delivered from. In terms of the importance of safe, consensual sex, I do not address the notion of safe sex because I don't believe in it. I mean, there is some information, maybe in a couple of testimonies where people talk about a condom, something here or there, but they're sharing something about an experience from their past, so to speak. Well, what I'm saying is our book's focus is on a message of purity, right? So it's on a message of sexual purity. So I have people in the book that are talking about walking in purity now that they're in their marriage, right? Or people that are at the point of now that they're abstaining regardless of what they've come out of. So when we say the notion of safe and consensual sex, it seems to me like that's asking me, did I promote like condoms between consensual adults versus marriage, covenant, man and woman? Am I interpreting that correctly?
Right.
Or am I? Okay. So no, I don't have information on safe consensual sex
Can I add something?
outside of marriage. I mean, but I'm thinking if you're married, that is a consensual
Correct.
sexual opportunity. All right.
If by importance of safe sex, if you're talking about whoever asked that question, if you're asking whether it's okay to use condoms, let's, for the sake of this discussion, a study was done by NIH that was presented in 2001 right here in Roslyn. And they looked at the effect of condoms on all the STDs, including HIV. They found out that it doesn't work. You can pull up on it because you have access to NIH website. Pull up on it and see that report. It doesn't work. Condom does not prevent you from getting chlamydia or gonorrhea. They break easy, they have pores in them, and if you think that you're gonna just do okay, that you're not gonna get HIV from it, you're kidding yourself.
All right. Every time Dr. Helawodi speaks, y'all get quiet. Y'all be like, oh, here you go with his statistics. Go to Dr. Odi said, you go to NIH. You got the website. Go to it. Y'all like, dang, Dr. Helawodi. Okay, got you again, didn't he? Got you again. All right. Trenton, there you go, buddy. How can you relate to single guys when you engaged, Tommy?
Someone told me a long time ago, I'm single until I say I do. Thank you very much.
Drop the mic.
That's my pastor. Thank you very much. You still date your fiance. You still have someone in your corner. So how can a single guy relate to an engaged guy? What? Okay. So if you're single, how many of you all date? Oh, come on, guys. How many dudes in here go on dates with young ladies? 2 people? Really? Really? Are you serious?
Marcellus, you ain't gonna put your hand
Wow.
up. I'm saying, Marcellus. I'm about to say, my little brother from Howard, not gonna, come on, dudes.
Okay. So you still date your fiance. You still have someone in your corner. I'm not. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. See, I'm not, I guess I wasn't following your question. Okay, so someone's in my corner, okay? She could totally break up with me today. I'm serious. She's single until she is still single until May the 25th. That's my wedding date. She considered, and then she everyone says, oh, but I'm saying she would say the same thing. However, I love her. Put that on YouTube. I love her. I love her. I love her. Okay?
Is this thing on? Okay.
So can you ever sing a guy? So, but really though, I believe I can relate to sing. And I tell you what, I told my sister, I said, why you even have me on your panel? No, really, for real talk. I said, why are you gonna have me on your panel? But then when she said, well, Trenton, you are a single man and you are pursuing your dreams, because currently I moved to New York City because I knew that my fiance was okay for me to go to New York City. But if she was not okay for me to go to New York City, I would have the conversation with her that this is pursuing of my goal. And if she didn't understand that this was a pursuing of my goal, then maybe then we should not be engaged. So like I say, I am single until May the 25th. But I'm not interested in any other woman except for her. Yes.
All right. So, because of the nature of the time, I got to start wrapping this part of the session up. Are y'all enjoying this part? Yes. It's good? All right. So, babe, should I take one more? All right. So let's do one more. In my earlier years of having sex, I contracted herpes, which is not curable. I'm practicing abstinence now. Can I still believe God for a husband? Absolutely. How do I share this with a potential mate? That's a good question.
I have a close relative that experienced this, and you know, it was first of all, I will report that he was miraculously healed of herpes. And so I know a lot of you out there, you know, are holding on to faith and believing God that that can happen, and you should. You know, let's accept it. You're making changes. You're turning towards God. The Bible promises that He can heal you. You know, so believe God for that. Now, don't believe God for that and then not tell somebody until like after you married them, because it is something that needs to come up. You know, if you're not, the doctor has not confirmed your healing yet. There is an appropriate time to bring it up. You know, obviously, like we talked about earlier, it's not going to be the first conversation you have with somebody, you know, and not a very, you know, if you're both waiting until marriage, it's not a very necessary conversation until things are getting pretty serious, right? Until you know it's moving in that direction. At that point, let's sit down and have an honest conversation, a frank conversation. You're developing communication skills as you're dating. You're learning how to talk to each other. You ought to be able to have a pretty open conversation about your past and what got you there, and then just talk it through. You know, it's going to work out.
That's excellent.
It will work out. Can I?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
I when I'm talking to young people about when they're getting married, it's important to not only know how to dialogue about things, but I am somebody who you have to kind of show me stuff. So if we are getting to the point where we're getting serious about marriage and stuff, I need to see, and you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but I need to see your financial statements, because this is a partnership. When companies come together, I look at all your records, you look at all my records, you see my debt, I see your debt. So when we're serious, because I think sometimes we get into love, and we get really sober after we're married. And so things that we should have discussed before when we're negotiating, because really it's a negotiation. It is about who God has joined together, but we have a choice in the matter. And so you have to make a conscious decision. You have to do your due diligence. And part of that is not only me talking about your test results or my test results, I need to see paperwork. I'm serious. I need to have HIV tests. I need gonorrhea, chlamydia, herpes, syphilis. I need all of that in print form from a lab that shows me not 2012's results. It's 2013. I need some up-to-date lab results to show me that you are crisp and clean, or you may not be so crisp and clean, okay? Because this person contracted herpes, but it's important to let the person know what they're getting into before, because that's how a lot of resentment starts in relationship. When you start hiding stuff and you're not open, that is the best opportunity for you to be your vulnerable self with somebody. When you are engaging in a serious relationship with somebody, that's when you let it all out. You don't let it all out sexually, but you have the dialogue about stuff. They should know how much debt you are in down to the penny. And they should be able to make a decision on that based upon, okay, before we get in, because once you're married, my debt becomes your debt. Your debt becomes my debt. And a lot of times we like to hide things, hide. And then we bring it all out. But I think at the beginning, when you do have the dialogue, you have your paperwork and you'll say, hey, is this something that you still want to do? We can still get married if you want to. And I think, but you have to let, he's laughing at me. But for real, that's how I look at things. You have to be honest and upright. You have to be, transparent. You have to let your stuff out at the beginning, because that's the only way that the foundation of the relationship is going to be built upon something that's lasting. We cannot do secrets. We don't do secrets. It's not scandal.
Dr. Jerry, it's funny. It's like when G and I got married, we had like about some 10-page paperwork. It was longer than that, 12-page paperwork. But it was a part of our premarital counseling, right? And it covered everything from like, do you snore, to have you ever had an STD? 2, is there a child that may show up at my doorstep 12 years from now, you know, like what had happened to my mom? So, you know, it's like, it's very honest. And so these are the things that we do need to have the real conversation about in the appropriate time. There is a time for everything, right? So it's not that first dinner conversation, but when we get down the road where we're serious, right?
It's funny she said it's not that first dinner conversation, because our first dinner conversation with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, I was so transparent that I walked away like, she's not going to ever want to say anything to me again or see me again. I told her all about my past and everything at the table, and I was like, there it is. Transparency is key. I like the analogy of like when companies are coming together, because I work in finance. So when they're coming together, honestly, it's like you got to reveal everything beforehand. Because if you don't, I'm going to do due diligence. In my due diligence process, I'm going to find out. Because if you're not going to tell me, then I feel like you're hiding something. So check it out. We're going to transition, but what I wanted to do was tell you guys, if your question did not get answered today, come and find one of us, ask your question, and we'll answer it individually. I know they're anonymous, but trust me, we'll keep it anonymous. We won't tell anybody that you asked us the question. And, you know, we really appreciate the questions. They're great, actually. And you know, at some point or another, you'll be able to see, hopefully we'll be able to provide something where there's, like, responses to these questions. You can see it in the future for, you know, for future references. 2 things. One, I wanted to say one more thing, because I was trying to add something to the question where they asked about Trenton and why he could relate to single guys, or how he could relate to single guys. And I thought about this. I said, if you want to be a millionaire, right, would you go hang around the guy that has only $100 in his bank account, or the guy that's made $1 million and has $1 million plus in his bank account? So this guy is on his way and making that $1 million plus, or about to get engaged, which is the equivalent of making that $1 million plus. So why wouldn't you want to hang around him and try to find out how he was able to present himself, how he is treating her now, the whole process, especially if you want to be where he's going? Of course you can relate. And then I, when I was walking back from the back, and I'll tell you why I was walking back from the back in a second, I got hit with these 2 questions, and they're really both the same questions, and I think they're really directed toward me and Lindsay, which are very interesting. What are your thoughts on contraceptions in marriage? I know God doesn't like wasted seed, but if you get worried, what's wrong with not wanting to immediately have children?
What y'all trying to say? Y'all want us to have some babies or something?
I'm not even going to answer the question. That's how, because some of you guys already know. I mean, honestly, I think in marriage, I mean, as far as if you don't want to have kids yet, because you know that you don't want to bring it, you know, then you need to make sure and, you know, say we're not going to have kids yet. It's like you need to put the proper things in place, talk to your doctor, and make sure that you're not going to have kids yet. You know, I think that's where, you know, condoms and things like that are probably useful. Not outside of marriage. Okay? Is that good?
It says that I know God doesn't like wasted seed, but if you're married, is it wrong to not immediately want children? Is it wrong? I think that's the question. Is it wrong to not immediately want children? I don't think it's wrong, but again, these are questions that you have to have with your, you know, during courtship and engagement. And because, again, resentment and these things come up. If I don't want kids and you want kids and we get married, that is a recipe for disaster. And people get divorces over things like that. You know, like I wanted kids, he didn't want kids, and, you know, it's a mess. So, again, these honest conversations in due season. You know, I don't sit down with you the first night, I want 8 kids. I was like, ooh, like, you messing people up with that. But, like, for example, Gareth and I, you know, we desire children, but we also desire to build the foundation, you know, build our marriage, enjoy ourselves, travel, continue to build this kingdom assignment. And then when children come along, you know, we can just throw them out on the dance floor. They be modeling at the next gala, and y'all be like, dang, that kids came out, they were worth, you know, we're trying to prepare a legacy, you know, so we want to do that thing in due season, but trouble not your heart, they will come, you know.
And like I tell people, when they come, you will know. I will open a Twitter account, an Instagram account, a Facebook account for them. I will be in newspapers. There will be announcements because you're going to need to know these princes and princesses.